Hey, this is Prak with iRepairMD, and today someone shipped us the balance board. This is from a different manufacturer. The customer told me that rode it for about 3 to 4 days and it just stopped working. And it holds a charge, but there's a few problems. You can see right now I'm trying to power it on. This is a completely charged one. The power, we're going to see what the issue is with this kind of issue. If you have it and it doesn't power on, all of a sudden it stopped working. There's a few problems. It could be a blown capacitor, or it could be a few blown transistors. And either way, if it's a capacitor, you might be able to replace the capacitor by inspecting to see if it's been blown and then just soldering a new one. However, if it's the transistor, it's going to be kind of hard to diagnose, so you're better off replacing the logic board. And today we're going to find out whether it's capacitor or transistor. As you can see, it does not power on, and I've been charging it for like over 2 hours now. Got the green light from the charging indicator and say it's full. So we can go ahead and do this repair. What you're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, I'm going to use my Phillips screwdriver here. Let's go ahead and concentrate on the main logic board side first to see what we need to do. These manufacturers are building initially the same board, but it's coming from various places. And if you look on Amazon, you see some for $300 or $400, and those are the one that usually last a few days and it breaks. This particular model here is the more cheaper model. What we carry in our store is called the mag board. We have a long warranty in ours, and prior to actually shipping them, we actually custom config ours to make sure we have none of these issues, the power issues. And if you notice, these things are showing up everywhere. NBA players, NFL players, movie stars, all these celebrities are riding it, and all over the world are selling it. And a few people in China are building. They can't fill this. There's so many demands, they don't have enough supplies, so they're hiring people off the street and just getting them straight into this assembly line. And the problem is the build quality decreased on these things. So if you're getting one of these affordable, the $300 or $400 one, you're getting what you paid for. It might work for a few days. I've heard as far as one customer of mine actually had it for like 20 seconds. She put the power on it and then it went on, and then it just came off and never came back. Alright, so now we got the first cover off. We're going to go ahead and disengage the LED. Okay. And now we're going to disengage the charging port. And we're going to go ahead and disengage the power button. Alright, before you go and mess with the capacitor, what we need to do is go ahead and disable the battery. Alright. Even though you disable the battery, these capacitors right here, they're still fully loaded. So I would still be very cautious about messing with this. Just be aware, don't try to get these things to spark on you, because they can offset your heartbeat. They're not safe if you don't. You gotta have a high proficiency to work with this. This is a high power electronic electric vehicle device right here. After I open this, I'll go ahead and explain some more details on what makes this thing run. The motor is in the tire. and which will freely give people a more creative ability. Because I'm thinking about designing a different vehicle. I'm working on that project. In the next few months, you're going to start seeing this prototype. I'm going to be using some components from a balance scooter to create a electric car, electric go-kart, and it's going to be something like you've never seen before. All right, let's go ahead and free the last screw. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. The first thing we do is disable the battery. Okay. All right, we're going to disable the LED. Put the shell out of play. Okay. Let's go look and review this. All right, so visually inspecting the capacitor, all these capacitor here, none of them is blown. So it's giving me bad assumption that the logic board is bad. And here's how you test it. What we're going to do is go ahead and plug the power back in. And this piece right here, this is the power, the on and off power. On a good logic board, if I was to bridge the connection between these two switch, you'll hear the beeping sound and the light comes on. As you can see, this does not work. The battery's on. So from this, I know, and the way it's built right here, I'm looking at some of these transistors here. You see these? This is missing a screw. Some of these are not the same level, and some is not tightened. This one capacitor here that's missing, transistor, and the transistor is what controls. It is what sends electric signal to the motor, and this thing requires a lot because it's a forward and backward moving balance bike. Okay, so the issue here is that this thing is completely bad, so we need to replace the logic board. And let's go ahead and do that. First thing we have to do is disable the power. Okay, and now let's go ahead and disconnect the these are the power to the motor. Disconnect these things. Okay, now let's disconnect the balance sensor. And now let's go ahead and disconnect the motor control. Alright, so those are disabled now. What we need to go on is on this side. We need to go ahead and disconnect the motor control, power to the motor. Okay, and this is the balance sensor. Alright, so we have all this exposed. Actually, you can see some of these right here. Look like the wire's been clamped, but this again has nothing to do with the logic board. This has been, let me see what's wrong with this one. Why do they have electrical tape? Usually if they have the electrical tape, there's an error or something went wrong. Yep, this one looked like they pretty much just taped it back on. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually we're going to tape it, seal it well. These are the light indicator, by the way. This indicates the on and off, the middle sensor. So because they've been nixed does not mean that they stop functioning. It's just the LEDs just won't display on the charge and the balance indicator. Alright, so now that you have all this, what we're going to do is start taking these screws off these transistors. Okay, just be very careful. transistors is the one that actually that sends apply to the motor. And this thing has a lot of transistors, meaning that it's a high power vehicle. But this definitely has a bad logic board to it. Alright, let's go ahead and take these off carefully. When working with anything that has a circuit board, you definitely don't have anything that can set off a static charge, because you can fry the circuitry or the sensitive processor. So what I'm wearing is 100% cotton, and I de-static myself before working on this. I don't wear gloves because I really can't get the feel of the screws and all the components that I need to know. Okay, so now you have all the logic board, all the screws from the transistors off, so you can safely lift the logic board. Okay, just lift it up slowly, like this. Alright, now what we need to do is actually pull these wires here from the other side. So we can go ahead and pull this off carefully. Alright. Okay, so now the logic board is off, and we're going to replace it with our new logic board. These are the logic board that we use in our boards, and we're going to test it out real quick. Here's how you test a logic board. Alright, this is the blue one. That's a good indicator this is premium. This is the same stuff they use in IOHawk and all those premium boards, balance board. This is the blue shield one, and this is highly premium. And I'm going to go ahead and test this out. The way I'm going to do that is, what I'm going to do is power up the board by, I'm going to plug in the connector right here. Okay, I'll power it up, plug in the power, and again, this is the board. So what I'm going to do is actually test it. This is the power switch like I told you about. As you can see, it works. So this board works. It's going to turn it off by bridging the power switch. Alright, now it's off. Let's go ahead and disable the power supply. Alright, even though it's disabled, again, these capacitors are loaded. They have power in them. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put the logic board into place here. Alright, so now that we have this all taken care of, all these screws on the transistors are bolt down to the logic board, I mean the main body to heatsink. We'll go ahead and connect the power. This is the power. We'll connect green to green. Okay, make sure they're nice and snug. Yellow to yellow. blue to blue. Okay, and go ahead and connect the speed control, and let's go ahead and connect the pad sensor, the pressure sensor. All these wires here, we're going to run it back to this other side of the board. Run it through this pivot tube here. Alright, put tube, run the power cable there. And we need to clean up these wires. We're going to use a tie wrap for that. Not a tie wrap, a Velcro. When you order these boards from my store online, we'll include the Velcro for you to go ahead and tighten these, clean up these wiring. Alright, so what we have now is we can go ahead and put this is the power indicator, the middle power indicator, back into place. Oops. Alright, line up this way, and we're going to go ahead and on this side we're going to plug the connectors, speed connector right here. Go ahead and connect the power indicator, and let's go ahead and put the motor, connect the power to the motor. Okay, and yellow to yellow, green to green, blue to blue. Verify everything. Let's go ahead and plug the battery in to test the board out. See what indicator we have here. Okay, let's go ahead and do a quick test. This quick test here would be, like I did earlier, to bridge the power. Alright, see, it works perfectly. Let's flip this over here. Alright, this indicates that the power control is missing, so let's go ahead and power it down real quick. Power down. Okay, let's go ahead and put the speed controller in here. And now let's power it up. Okay. Power down. Okay. Alright, so now what we're going to do is tighten up the cables. I'm going to use my tie wrap. The Velcro. What we're going to do is bundle these up into a manageable pack. Keep it nice and snug. What we need to do is just connect this here. I'm going to wrap it around this way. Alright. Keep that nice and secure, tucked away here. These cables here we're going to bundle up together here. Alright, let's go ahead and put the plate on for this. power plate here. Everything is nice and secure. Let's go ahead and plug this in. Put on the power switch right here. Power switch. Oops. Power switch into place. Now the LED connectors into place. Now this is the charging port. Putting that into place. Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and put a lid on it. Make sure everything's nice and flush. Inspect it carefully. Make sure no wire is snagging. And then once it's all snapped, check both sides. Now go ahead and use a screwdriver. Tighten the clamshell up. Alright. Alright, before we tighten it some more, let's go ahead and verify that we have everything working. Power's working. Good. I'm going to then put the charge connector. Charge this up. Alright, good indication. Let's power it off. Alright, let's go ahead and tighten all the screws. Okay, with these boards, it's extremely important to seal it away from moisture. You need to get that moisture seal on it. And there's a variant amount of screws here that goes into play. And what we want to do is put all the middle one. These uses machine screw. This one is plastic to plastic on the side. So make sure all the screws represent the same group. Alright. Okay, now we have all this nicely done. We're going to go ahead and work on this side. Let's clean this up also. I'm going to use my Velcro cable tightener. We'll clean it up. Bring everything down this way. Wrap it. The tighter the group, the more secure your board is. You want to keep these outside the board and do not let the other one to wrap around. So we want to create this bundle right here that's resting on top. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put it through this loop here. Wrap it. Okay, now we've got a nice group here. Go and put the other cover on. Okay. Connect the LEDs in. Okay. And go ahead and fasten the screws back into place. Make sure all the power snap. Alright. Secure here. Go ahead and tighten the screws. Seal the clamshell. Okay. Both sides. I don't like to use a power screw for this one because you might strip it. It's better to use a hand screw. The screws that they use on these things are not the same size. They have variant size screws, so to use a power screw you might get yourself in a world of trouble. I'm not sure why they use various one. Again, it all depends on the manufacturer. As far as the logic board on the inside, it's pretty much open source, but everything else is not. Alright, so finishing off on the screw here, putting the last final screw in. Alright, let's power this baby on. Okay, check the blue lights. Both is working. Forward, back it's working. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and test this out. Go on the board. There you go. Works perfect. No issue at all. The logic board has been replaced. And this is Prac with iRepairMD. Safe repair and safe riding.